I am 70 years old this year. First, 2 years ago, my husband passed away due to illness. When he was diagnosed with a terminal illness, my daughter and I cried our hearts out and tried our best to save him. I was ready to sell a house, but my husband was unwilling to say, "Instead of throwing this money into the water, it's better to leave it to you and your daughter. My daughter needs to support our family. Losing my 44-year-old partner has already taken half of my life. If it weren't for my daughter coming back to visit me every once in a while and accompanying me unexpectedly, God was so ruthless that taking away my spouse was not enough." That night, I was lying in bed scanning a short video. I had planned to fall asleep at 11 o'clock, but I don't know what's going on. I tossed and turned, but I couldn't sleep. I always felt like something was going to happen. After staying up all night, I couldn't fall asleep. I was wondering if there was something wrong with my body when my son-in-law called me. He didn't say anything else. I immediately realized that something had happened, and while praying desperately, I took the bus to my daughter's house. I thought the worst-case scenario would be if her daughter also fell ill and needed treatment, and I expected the two of them to discuss what surprises to give me. However, when I arrived at my son-in-law's house, my in-law's mother saw me and rushed over crying, holding my hand and apologizing to me. "Lila's mother, I'm sorry for you. If only I had left the three of them yesterday. I saw the room burning pitch black, my legs weak, and I walked to my daughter's bedroom. I saw her lying on the bed, motionless, as if she was asleep. But when I took her hand and touched her body, it was so bitterly cold. I shook my daughter with all my might and shouted her nickname, feeling hopeless. But no matter how much I shouted or went crazy, later on, I found out that when my daughter and son-in-law came back from visiting their in-laws that night, they brought the electric car up and charged it in the living room because it ran out of electricity. This was not the first time they had done it, and although they knew it shouldn't be, when they woke up and realized something was wrong, the fire was already raging. The daughter rushed to the granddaughter's house, woke the child, and had her son-in-law rush out to protect the child. The son-in-law made every effort to deliver the child, and then went back to try to save my daughter. Due to the fire being too big and dangerous, neighbors and the property management rushed to stop him. When the firefighters arrived and rescued their daughter to the hospital, although I was heartbroken and feeling hopeless, I still maintained my sanity and helped my son-in-law, who was kneeling on the ground and kowtowing to me vigorously. I took my granddaughter's hand and placed the child's hand in his hand, saying, "It's not your fault for this. You've tried your best." My son-in-law asked me to stay at his house for retirement, but I refused. At my request, I posted a friend circle and told my relatives and friends the sad news. I arranged a funeral for my daughter in my hometown, and many people came to participate. I am a people's teacher, and I have been teaching and educating people since I was 26 years old. I have been teaching for 29 years. Desperate, I supported my body to bid farewell to my daughter, enduring the pain of a white-haired person giving up a black-haired person, and pondering my old age on the side. To be honest, I really want to find them. After losing the two closest people, until my neighbor came to attend the funeral, I was afraid I wouldn't take it seriously, and advised me, "You should have heard the saying that having a stepmother means having a stepfather. Your granddaughter is the apple of your daughter's eye, and now she's only 10 years old. It's highly likely that your son-in-law will remarry. If you're not here." After listening to my neighbor's words, I ignited the fighting spirit to survive. After all, my granddaughter is my only bloodline. At that time, I thought for a moment and planned to sell both houses in my hometown's county town. Although the housing prices in my hometown were not high, the two houses could still be sold for 60,000 to 700,000 yuan. Upon learning that I was going to sell two houses, 4 students who came to attend the funeral approached me and gave me a suggestion that made me feel unbelievable. Teacher, you don't need to go to a nursing home. We will provide for you. We have agreed to take turns supporting you. You will come to my house this year, to Fang Hong's house next year, to Li Wan's house the following year. Before I could even speak, Liu Lan continued. If it weren't for Zhang Lila's kindness, and seeing that my family conditions were not good, I could only eat 2 meals a day. Every now and then, she called me to your house to have dinner. I probably would have been suffering from malnutrition and my physical condition wouldn't have been able to withstand academic pressure. I have always wanted to repay Lily for this kindness. But before she could, Wang Zhaodi also spoke. Teacher, when I heard my name, everyone asked me if I had parents who prioritize boys over girls. I said yes. But I was lucky enough to meet you. If it weren't for you arguing with my parents, I might not have even had the opportunity to take the college entrance examination. Although I didn't go to college, you taught me self-love, taught me self-improvement, and made me understand that what was wrong was that my parents were not my reason. Fang Hong and Li Huan also nodded. Li Huan and Wang Zhaodi were in a similar situation, having met parents who prioritized boys over girls and almost lost their learning opportunities. With my efforts, I managed to preserve my right to education. When Fang Hong was in her 2nd year of high school, her father passed away and her family's financial situation plummeted. She wanted to drop out of school and go out to work. I was deeply moved to hear their words, but I really didn't want to implicate them. You all have a family and children, and I don't want you to bear too much and have conflicts with your family. If you have this heart, it's great. Come and see me more when you have time. But Liu Lan insisted that I go with him. My husband has no objection. He said you are a teacher and have high moral standards. If you're embarrassed, seeing me still hesitating, they said 8 words in unison. A day as a teacher and a lifetime as a father. Let alone you being so kind to us. As students, we want to repay you. Upon seeing this, my relatives and friends also advised me not to disappoint their kindness. You can leave the house behind, if they are really good to you. Finally, I agreed to their suggestion. Currently,